Hello everyone, I'm JinJinx and my team and I managed to get the world record pursuit level 1 Hornbreak on Kulve Taroth last time she was around, for about a day and a half before the previous world record holders dunked us viciously. I have nothing but mad respect for the Japanese team that dunked us though. They constantly innovate when it comes to Kulve Taroth and they deserve the world record title. Either way, from the process of researching and speedrunning her, we learned pretty much everything about her mechanics, as well as how to efficiently farm her. So with the new Rarity 8 weapons being released, I decided I'd go ahead and share that information in this video, as well as clear up a lot of misconceptions and misinformation around Kulve Taroth. Now there is a lot of information to cover here, so I'm actually going to be doing two videos. This first one is about why you should do pursuit level 1s, why are they the fastest farming method, as well as the basic facts and information about KT's mechanics you need to know. Things like how does she release, what is the damage you need to do to break a horn, and everything like that. Alright, so first off, why pursuit level 1 Kulve Taroth? Well, let me explain how the reward system works. Your rewards are based on objectives you complete. Picking up tracks only increases pursuit level on future hunts, not reward level, so if you're doing pursuit level 1s, don't pick up tracks. Assuming you successfully break Kulve Taroth horns, there are 11 objectives left that determine your reward level. One is hitting pursuit level 6, and one is to break the tail. But forget about those if you're doing pursuit level 1s because you can't manage them. The other 9 objectives are for the horn plating and one for each mantle piece, both arms, chest, legs, and tails the first time they are broken. For level 15 rewards, you need 9 out of 9 of these broken. For level 14 rewards, you need 7 to 8 out of 9 of these broken. And for level 13 rewards, you want 5 to 6 out of 9 of these broken. You don't have to worry about getting below level 13 because you will always break at least 3 parts, more on that later. Now as for the actual rewards, there are 3 levels of rewards, gold, silver, and trash. Now as long as you get level 14 to level 17, you will have 3 gold boxes as rewards, which is the one you mostly care about anyway. This makes getting to reward level 14 our primary objective, and doing that in a 10 to 13 minute long hunt is not very difficult if you arm yourself with the knowledge in this guide. Now the real reason why they are the most efficient farming method is because pursuit level 1s are just much more time efficient. A refined pursuit level 1 takes about 10 to 13 minutes to do, a sloppy one maybe 18 at most. And now let's compare that to the standard method of running 2 rounds of Kulve Taroth where you break stuff and then come back at a higher pursuit level and finish her. No matter how efficient you are, it's going to take you at least 1.5 times as long as a pursuit level 1 hunt to do those 2 runs between loading times as well as actually just running through twice. Level 17 rewards only get you 1 more silver box and no more gold boxes compared to a level 14. That means that even in the most generous case scenario where you have level 17 rewards in 1.5 times the time of a pursuit level 1, you're trading 4.5 gold boxes and 4.5 silver boxes for 3 gold boxes and 4 silver boxes. No matter how you slice it, it's worse. Alright, last thing I want to mention about pursuit level 1s is if you're in a session where everyone isn't doing it, leave. Because whenever you complete the hunt, it will give all of the other hunters in there crap rewards and they will not be happy with you. Although at that point you should point them towards this video.
Yeah, JinJinx, that's fine and all, but how the hell do I break Kulve Taroth spawns in the pursuit level 1?
Well, I'm glad that you asked, Timmy. First off, let's cover the various mechanics and facts about Kulve Taroth as well as general tips you need to know. So first off, as you probably know, the goal of the siege is to break Kulve Taroth's horns. In order to do so, there are 2 main sections to the fight, Dressed and Naked Kulve Taroth. Let's cover Dressed first. Dressed Kulve Taroth covers areas 1 through 3 and is a section where she is covered in gold. You have 2 goals for Dressed Kulve Taroth. You have to break the 7 out of 9 parts objectives in order to get level 14 rewards and those 3 juicy gold boxes, and you have to make sure you release her before time is up so you can fight naked form of her in area 4. That part isn't difficult though. So let's talk breaking parts. Clothed Kulve Taroth has 2 forms, normal and red hot. When she is red hot, Kulve Taroth's hit zone values are over double, meaning she takes over twice as much damage, and it also means that melee weapons get to use weakness exploit against her. Very good stuff. Red Hot is triggered by a damage threshold and wears off after a set period of time. Despite what the handler may say to you, hitting the white part has nothing to do with it. I think that myth comes from the fact that that's considered a weak point before she goes red hot. So you're supposed to hit that, but it's kind of pointless. since any damage you do to it is damage you could be doing to other parts to break them, so don't do it. Now, since it is a limited window of time, that means that you have a small window of time to deal max damage to her to hit release conditions and break the parts before she cools down again. There are ways to control the timing of red hot states to maximize its effectiveness, but I'll discuss that more in Area 1. Because of this mechanic, it is important to be able to deal high damage to Kulve Taroth in this limited time window.
But I don't know how to match JinJinx, so how do I do that then?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Timmy. See, her weakness to sever and blunt the melee damage types is good, but not great, and shot damage like bows and bowguns are weak, so they don't even get to use weakness exploit against her. But because wearing all that gold makes her very conductive, she has an extremely high weakness to Thunder Wind Trest. In fact, her Thunder weakness is effectively a 5 or 6 star weakness. Because of her insane weakness to Thunder, the absolute best weapons for shutting her Mantle are ones that use the Thunder element well. Top tier choices are Crit Element Thunder Bow, Light Bowgun, Dual Blades, and Charge Blades.
But JinJinx, I thought you said salt types sucked against Kulve Taroth.
Well, that's right, Timmy, they do. But Bow and Light Bowgun use elemental damage so well that even if you don't get to use weakness exploit and therefore shouldn't put it in your build, a Thunder Bow can easily hit 250 damage plus per power shot, and a rapid fire Thunder Light Bowgun can land a 500 plus damage shot when piercing from chest to tail. They also have the advantage of being ranged, so they're overall safer and have higher damage uptime, and they can also hit the horns easily to break the plating, which melees will struggle with. For this reason, I recommend your team should always have at least one Bow or Light Bowgun. Critical Element Dual Blades and Thunder Power Element Phial Charge Blades, say that 3 times fast, are also very strong. Dual Blades are the melee weapon with the highest amount of elemental damage, and because they also get to deal high sever damage, they are actually the highest DPS option for concentrated damage. The only thing that can possibly deal more is the Light Bowgun, but it's not concentrated since it pierces through Kulve Taroth. That concentrated damage plus that mobility makes them excellent at breaking the chest and the arms, which the Bow and Light Bowgun can struggle with at times. Charge Blades have high pure damage potential because each Phial on an SAED can hit up to 160 to 180. But due to the spread nature of the SAED on a Power Elemental Phial type Charge Blade, as well as the wind-up time, it can be hard to land all of these, and even harder to land them on a specific part at once. Still a very solid choice though. To be honest, these 4 are so powerful, you can release Kulve Taroth in the Pursuit level 1 with just 2 of your people using them, while the other 2 just kinda go mess around with Gadget Lockers or something. After that, you have your Hammers and Great Swords and Thunder IGs and Thunder SAs and such. They're all pretty good, but to be honest, they just pale in comparison to the first 4 I mentioned. Like I said, as long as 2 of your people are running these, then you're pretty much set. Alright, next up, in terms of dealing damage, we have cannons and bombs. See, cannons and bombs deal double damage versus Kulve Taroth, which is very useful, especially since they continue to deal this high damage regardless of whether she is red hot or not. I'll talk about cannons more when I talk about Area 1, but for the bombs, the double damage is amazing. For this reason, you should always have Bombardier level 3 in every single build you run against Kulve Taroth. Also, if you're running low on mats for Mega Barrel Bombs, or you just don't want to farm them up, pop a voucher and eat for Feline Pyro. It'll turn your large barrel bombs into megas, and you can just buy those, so the resource drain is a lot less that way. Also, don't forget to set up radio menu crafting menu shortcuts for large barrel bombs and Mega Barrel Bombs so you can do a mid-hunt much more easily. I'll talk more bomb strats in this specific area, guides, but for now, let's go to the next one. Always run Heartbreaker for Dressed KT. It is effectively a 30% damage increase for both meeting objectives and for releasing her. However, it does not work for breaking her horns in Area 4, so ditch it for those builds. More on that later.
But why is it so useful for releasing her?
Well, that's because KT has 2 release conditions. The first is a simple damage threshold. This is a pretty brute force way to do it, and I don't really recommend it because on the P1 it takes so long. It's just so obscenely high. Every time we've done it, it takes like 18 minutes to do a run instead of 13. Now, if you want to get her naked with precision and grace, it's through her second release condition, which is having 5 parts broken in Area 3. If KT has 5 parts currently broken on her body in Area 3, she will automatically release. Keep in mind, this is the parts on her body broken, so the horn plating does not count towards the 5 count. Also, keep in mind that this does not include any previously broken parts that have regenerated from digging. They have to be currently broken on her body. This makes it easy to hit the 7 out of 9 parts we need for level 14 rewards if we simply focus on parts not previously broken after she digs. However, the dig mechanic does make this overall more tricky, so let's discuss that next. If KT has 5 parts broken on her body in area 2 instead, she will dig and regenerate her parts. She will always do this at least once. Even if you fail to break 5 parts in area 2 and make her dig, she will just then instead dig in area 3. At which point you then have to break 5 parts there again in order to get her to release. However, when she does dig, parts you haven't broken yet do not regenerate any HP. This means that you should target those parts that are not broken yet because they are likely already damaged and will break faster, and also because you want to hit the 7 out of 9 objectives to get level 14 rewards. I will cover more specific strategies and tips for clothed KT in the area by area guide, but now let's discuss the facts you need to know about naked KT. Now first off, I want to address, do not use crowd control before area 4. Say it with me now. Do not use crowd control before area 4. Releasing KT's Mantle in P1 is not that difficult as long as everyone knows what they're doing. The much more difficult part is getting the horn break. Why do you ask? Because it takes 45,000 damage to break the horns in the P1 hunt. That's right, 45,000. How do I know this? Simple. I just watched a footage from all of my teammates on our sub 8 run and counted the damage. Easy peasy. And since you only have about 5 minutes to deal this much damage to her in area 4, it is imperative you do everything you can to squeeze in that much damage.
Well, JinJinx, that's a lot of damage. I don't think I could ever do that much to her.
Well, that's why you have me, Timmy. I will arm you with the knowledge you need to successfully deal that 45,000 damage and get your sweet golden rewards. Knowledge like do not use crowd control before area 4. Since it takes 45,000 damage to break horns, you do not want to be wasting your crowd control before then. That means no mounts, no KOs, no paralyzes, no sleeps, no nothing. I swear if I see one of you use a hammer on KT's head before she's naked, or shooting stickies at it, I will spend the rest of the hunt launching you with Shoryuken until KT carts both of us. See, the problem is that every time you crowd control her, it raises the threshold for the next one. So if you sleep her, it takes 2 sleep, 2 ammo the first time, but the second time takes 11. Do not waste your crowd control. However, there are 2 forms of crowd control that's okay to use beforehand, which are rock drops and pod KOs. Dropping rocks will cause the fall over 15 seconds, which is a nice option to gain some free damage. However, in area 1, the use of them is kinda questionable. I'll discuss that later. The other crowd control that you can use is pretty much the pod KO. So when Kulve Taroth is in this specific animation, note the hunched shoulders and head down not moving. This lava breath, if you shoot pods at her, it has a chance to randomly knock her over. It also triggers per pod hit, so this makes piercing pods extremely valuable. And also if you pick up stones, you'll have 20 of them. And if you use dung pods, you have another 10 in reserve if you ever need them, which is very useful. Basically, if you aren't dying in the lava, shoot pods at her head when she does this. Another fun fact, it takes 8,500 damage to chip the horns of KT, and this damage does in fact carry over to area 4 if you do it beforehand. This was actually the one thing we didn't know, and the innovation that the JP group used to dunk our time viciously. However, any damage past the horn chip doesn't carry over. We did a test once where we did about 25,000 damage past it, and it did not make area 4 any faster. I'll discuss different ways that you can sneak this damage in the area by area guide. Lastly, you should always have 2 item loadouts and 2 builds for fighting Kulve Taroth. One for dressed KT, basically a thunder build to shred her mantle, and one for breaking her horns in area 4. This is why you should always bring Farcasters so you can switch out sets whenever you want. Capcom was even nice enough to provide them in the big blue box, so you really have no excuse. You may be tempted to bring 3 sets, one for Area 1, one for Area 2 and 3, and one for Area 4. I would recommend you don't do this. It takes 45 to 55 seconds to Farcaster and then drop down to the transition point between Area 2 and 3. That means you're wasting a lot of precious time by switching from Area 1 to Area 2 gear. Alright, that pretty much covers all of the non-area specific mechanics, as well as strategies and tips you need to know about KT. You may have noticed that I haven't talked much about Area 4 yet. That's because there is a lot of information to cover about that. So instead I'll be covering that in my next video, which is going to be an area by area guide to Pursuit Level 1 hunting Kulve Taroth for very efficient farming. Either way, thank you for watching the video. I hope you learned something new and useful. If you did, leave a comment below, and subscribe so that you can see my next video as soon as it comes out. Until then, happy hunting, hunters! Bye!